We started with this rusty shell, and in today's video, we're going to finish up all of the welding and bring this thing back to life. It's been a huge undertaking and a lot more than I expected it to be, but one of those experiences that I wouldn't trade. Hope you guys enjoy the video and stick around to the end to see all the final product. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the final video of this series where we're actually going to be welding up the patch panels on this car, or we're going to be attempting to. But if you're seeing this video, then it's probably already happened. You can see behind me, got some boxes in here. This is my welder that I got off Amazon, and some welding supplies. I'm going to get to this, I'm going to put this together, and get started. I'm pretty nervous about this one. Heavier than I thought. Ground cable, stick welding, it's our gas line, that's what I needed. So what's kind of cool about this welder is that you can do 220 or 110 amp, so I can actually plug it into an outlet that I have on the wall. And last but not least, we got the gun. A couple other things we got: auto dimming welding mask, .030 flux core welder wire. I also got some solid wire, but I don't have any gas. So at first, we're gonna try flux core. If flux core doesn't work, I'll bite the bullet and go get gas for this. I also got a regulator in case we actually have to do that, and some solid wire. So for now, alright, so I think I got the welder set up. The best to my knowledge, I think I've got most of the settings figured out, or at least enough to test it. I'm going to take some of the scrap pieces we have left, cut a couple pieces out, and see if we can get some stuff together. I'm nervous. Alright, let's see if this works. Okay, I'm going to turn up the voltage a little bit, see what happens. Alright, I'm going to practice on this for a little while. You guys just hang out, watch, give me critique. Yes! It's frickin' working! This is awesome. Oh, I'm having fun now, baby. Alright, I'm at least confident enough to at least tack this up so we can get it to a spot where we can actually bend it. I didn't want to bend them up until I welded them together because I need them to be pretty close. So far the welder's doing great. It's just me who's got to figure it out. It's a big learning curve. I'm not mad about that. Before Vice is getting a good use out of it though. Cool. So now that I welded these two pieces together, feels kind of cool, man. I think it's time to weld up our first piece. So we're gonna start with this easiest piece first. Wish me luck. As you guys are gonna see in this video, none of this was easy at all. All the sheet metal on the car was so thin that I just constantly was blowing through holes, and I just had to come up with ways and light tack everything. Otherwise, if I put too much heat into anything, I'd blow a hole through it and I'd just be chasing my tail the whole time. So this whole process was honestly so much harder than I expected it to be, but the process was so cool, man. I learned so much doing this, and I'll say I don't want to do it again, but it was a lot of fun. Not going that great so far, so I'm gonna keep working on this. I don't even want to show you yet. It's kind of pathetic. It's real bad. Fuck! At some points, I just had to turn the camera off, so on this second piece, you aren't gonna see any welding on it, because I struggled on it for probably 2-3 hours, and it looked so bad. I actually had to end up remaking this piece all together and re-welding it together, and finally figured it out. That first section done, that was a struggle. I was blowing through. It was so thin in a lot of spots, but we made it work. It's not pretty. We're gonna move on to this piece right here underneath the trunk. Wish me luck. This one could be tough too. So I actually had pretty decent luck with this part. A lot of the trunk liner had a lot thicker material, at least on the curves. That helped a lot, so I wasn't blowing through nearly as much. The part that I struggled with the most was underneath, where it curved up towards like the trunk sill part. That part was really tough to get all the little edges and whatnot, and just to get everything to fit perfectly in there, so I didn't have to fill gaps. That took forever. And just tack welding this absolutely behemoth of a piece. Oh my gosh, this also probably took about 3 to 4 hours, I'd say. And yeah, the amount of beating on it and just tinkering with every little thing took forever. It took a lot in me to just not give up on some parts. I knew I needed to get this done, and I hate having projects sit around. Like, I love this car so much, and I did not want it sitting on a jack stand. That's just not who I am, so I just powered through and just kept learning and working on this. So yeah, what a process, man. Holy smokes. I thought it was gonna maybe take a day to do all the welding on this car, maybe. Oh my gosh, I think I probably have 20 hours into welding, maybe, probably around there. It's a struggle. I know other people can do this way better. I have no doubt about that, but I'm no pro. I'm just trying to learn this on my own because I know how expensive it would be. Okay. I've been working on this for a long time, and it looks like shit. I've just been chasing holes after hole after hole after hole. There's another hole I didn't even see. I want to love this car, man, but I am struggling right now. This sucks. Whew, okay. I'm going to primer this real quick. I'm gonna come back later and keep working on this. Thanks for still watching. I appreciate it. Alright guys, back another day working on this trunk again. I did some other small spots just in the meantime while I was waiting for this spot to dry. There were a handful of just tiny little rot spots, like right here, and then right here was another spot. Got those cleaned up, made little patch panels for them, so it's looking a lot better. We are now completely done with the trunk sill. I mean, minus paint and whatnot, but we just primed everything. It should be good to go. Now we're gonna move down to under the taillight. This might be the toughest part because I need this to look the best. For everything to be good, this has to look good. Now I should be able to manipulate it so I can get all the nice edges and creases in this one. To my disbelief, this actually was the easiest of all the patch panels to do. Don't get me wrong, it was not easy. As you can see, a fat hole down there in the bottom corner, but overall this one went really smooth. It's definitely not perfect, but everything cleaned up. It all welded together very nicely. I even checked the taillight to make sure all the mounting holes were good to go, and everything looked good. I was pretty proud with this one, especially because we had practiced so much with the trunk. It was actually so relieving to see that my practice and my hard work was actually paying off. All the holes are filled in now. I'm just gonna grind this off, then I'll show you guys. It's gonna take a little while to grind it all off, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's cleaned up, primed for now. It still needs a lot of time to dry, but wow, that was tough. That was tough, took a while. Once again, it all went smooth until the end, and then I had holes, blowout holes that just kept going and going and going and never ending. But got through them. It looks pretty good. I'm done for now. I need a break. See ya tomorrow. Back in the garage, another day. No idea what day this is. Day 4, day 6, day 1000. I don't know. We gotta finish up the battery box. We are getting there. We're making huge progress. This is the last part. The battery box doesn't have to be pretty, but we need to make sure it's sealed up and good to go, so I never have to deal with this again. So let's stop talking about it. Let's get to it. Let's go. Alright, let's get into what was the battery box. This was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. I probably have 5-6 hours into this battery box, and
It's just because there's so many finicky little spots that I had to fill in that I just didn't think about when making these patch panels. So I had to make a few small little patch panels for spots that I wasn't expecting to, and especially for spots that were so thin that I didn't see before. So when I went to grinding to get a nice smooth spot to weld to, I was blowing right through the metal. So I had to make about 6 more tiny little patch panels just to fill in a lot of small holes. This was tough, guys. I'll be honest. I knew it didn't have to be pretty, but that didn't stop me from trying my best to make it. At least if someone looked under the car, they were like, oh yeah, that's not too bad. But it was really hard. There's so many small spots in here and everything. It was not going to plan. Thankfully, the 20 gauge metal, I had to weld these 2 pieces together. That went really smoothly. The old battery box, welding to that was not smooth. It was just like everything else, a lot of holes blowing through. And if you're probably gonna ask, I couldn't turn the welder down anymore without the wire feed stopping. And if you're curious, this is at 3000% sped up. Yeah.
Alright, I've been welding for hours now. So now, I'm gonna clean it up, grind most of it off. Like, I'm not too worried about underneath. It's never gonna be seen. It's gonna be sprayed over with undercoating and primer and whatnot. I'm not really worried about that. Our last piece right here. But we gotta smooth everything out before we do that. So, alright, let's get to it. It feels so good to not have big holes in this thing. It's not pretty. Not yet. We're getting there.
Just when I thought I was finished with this part, disaster struck, and I had to go up this seam, filling hole after hole after hole. I spent 2 hours filling in holes, moving up the seam to fill in another hole, going back down to fill. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't even explain how mad this made me. I had to stop. I had to call it a day.
I've been chasing this around for the last hour. Because all of this is just seam sealed. These aren't even welded together, this seam and this seam. So the metal was so thin when I grinded through it, I've just been blowing hole, blowing hole, blowing hole. So now, this is where we're at. We've just been chasing a rabbit hole of hole after hole after hole, and it's been a freaking nightmare. I just want to make this last piece and be done. This is so ridiculous, man. Like, I can't even explain how angry this is making me. So dumb. Keep on going. I can't stop, man. I gotta get this done. I want this done so bad. This poor car. I just want it. Don't you want to be back to life? Please. Okay. Another day in the garage. Today is the day. Today's the day. No ifs, ands, buts about it. We are finishing up all of the welding. All of it. I think I'm going to save next video because I'm just freezing and it's too cold to even spray paint. It's probably like, I think it's like 26 degrees right now. Let's see. Currently, 31 degrees. We got to finish up a few more holes, and then we have to finish up the last piece. Finally done. Look at my hand. See how there's all those little spots? Those are all weld burns. Weld BBs flying off. So we're gonna hit it with some primer, let it sit for a while. And then in the next episode, you guys are gonna see me attempt to Bondo for the first time. So we gotta hit these spots because they're visible with Bondo, smooth everything out, so then we can get our top layer of primer on there, and then to the color. I'm excited. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.